you cannot have your cake and be able to eat pieces of it too. You will not go out there and lay up with other women and then come home and lay down with me. I can't believe I'm about to admit this out loud. What kind of foolishness is this? Can't believe I'm about to say this in the video. Hello knockouts, Tonya TKO here, and I'm a self-love specialist on TonyaTKO.com. My mission is to assist you when you're ready to love yourself and each other. So today I'm going to be reacting to a video entitled How Many Mothers Can Say This to Their Daughter? So let's see.
House. He wouldn't have gone outside there to seek for it.
So I should be at fault when it's obvious he's the one cheating. For goodness sakes, mommy, I found condom in his pocket.
You found condom in his pocket. What about other women who find their husbands on top of another woman, yet they do not bring down the roof?
Mom, you know that's not possible. There is no way a woman will find her husband on top of another woman and not raise the roof.
Indeed. Not once, not twice did I find your father on top of another woman. Inasmuch as I wanted to react badly, I thought about you. That what would become of you if I should leave this marriage? Your future meant so much to me than a broken home. I had to stand my ground to fight for my marriage. That my daughter, you never experienced a broken home. I want you to go back to your husband's house and fight for your marriage.
Oh, is that so?
Mom, you went through all of this and I'm not even aware of it?
Because that fight is not a fight to be announced. Your victory will do the announcement. I want you to go back to your husband's house before he finds out that you are gone. For you not to regret anything.
You know what? I take this very seriously. All right. I take this very seriously. All right. Well, you know what? Let's put on our Wakanda frames so that we can see what kind of foolishness is this. Okay, so first things first, let's just break this down piece by piece. It seems like, I don't know where this is from, but let's just talk about what it seems like. It seems like this is from a scene in a movie where a woman found her husband with a condom in his pocket, and she left him and went to her mother, who then said the condom is just speculative, so to speak, and that there are other women who found their husbands on top of other women and stayed. And then she, oh God, but remember in the very beginning of the scene,
he wouldn't have gone outside there to seek for it.
It sounded as if the mother was saying that because the daughter wasn't doing something, the husband had to find it out there in the streets. And she told the daughter to go back home before her husband realizes that she is gone. What kind of foolishness is this? Now, you know, I'm not gonna, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. There are people who watch my videos and they say, you know what, well, Tonya TKO talks about relationships. Tonya TKO is not going to teach you anything but how to quote unquote stay single because Tonya TKO is quote unquote single. Okay. Then they start talking about how back in the days, old school mothers just like this, how their marriages lasted, they stayed together. I remember there was a girl, she responded to a comment of mine and she was like, my parents have been married for 40 years, blah, blah, blah. See, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a counselor on how to stay in relationship. I am a self-love specialist. So when somebody says, oh yes, my parents have been married for 40 years, I want to find out what is the quality of that marriage. Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Did your father cheat on your mother, have another baby outside of the house who your mother will not let into the house that you never knew about because your mother endured in this marriage? Well, listen to this. You know what? There's so much symbolism in this. That, you know what? I know that this is just a movie. I know that these are just words, but each and every day I'm sure that this is happening out there. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I'm going to open up and express some stuff to you that you all would not know unless I said this in this video. And I've never spoken out loud about this in public before. This hits really close to home. I can't believe I'm about to say this in the video. For those of you who know me and you watch my videos, you know that I grew up in a two-parent household. Yes, I did. I grew up in a household with my mother, and I grew up in a household with my father. Yes, all of us 3 children that my mother and father have grew up in this household. My father, however, I can't believe I'm about to admit this out loud. Okay. My mother was from the South, and my father is Caribbean. And my mother was raised in a household with a strong matriarch who in some ways reminds me of this woman, but not in the ways that this woman is projecting this mess out onto her daughter. I set up that groundwork to say that my mother came from a traditional Southern background where I'm sure she was taught to stay in your marriage, stay by your man or whatnot. My grandmother was a very strong matriarch who would constantly talk of being self-sufficient without the help and governance of a man. Okay, let's jump into. My father decided that he would have an extramarital affair and come to my mother with a child whom he said he had conceived out there with another woman. My parents got divorced. Now, let me backtrack just a little bit. When my father came home with this daughter that he had conceived outside of the marriage, I took it very personally. I was the only daughter at that time, and I felt like, I was a child. I talked about this in another video about the development of the mind and the programming of the subconscious, right? So children's minds don't work the way adults do, and children's minds don't process information in the same way that adults do. A child's mind is still processing. When I was a little girl, I thought that I had not been a good enough daughter, and that my father went out there. I didn't understand the dynamic of my father and mother's relationship when I was a child. I thought that my father had cheated on me. I thought that my father went out there because I wasn't a good enough daughter, and he went out there and he got another daughter because I wasn't good enough, because I was bad, or because I didn't do things in a certain way. And so I took it very personally when my father went out there and did that. My parents got divorced. Now, my father moved out for a few years. He had his own apartment. And as my brother started coming into adolescence and started going out there in the streets, my father moved back into the house. My parents were still divorced, and they kept 2 separate bedrooms. My father lived on the 3rd floor. My mother lived on the 2nd floor. We were raised in a 2-parent household. We received the benefits of having both parents under the same roof. But we also received another benefit, and I received the benefit as a young lady. I look at the woman playing this role, and I see her obese, and I wonder, what are all of the things that she held inside of her, that she stuffed down with food, that she placated with sweets? What are the things that she didn't express? What are the things that she had to stuff and hide inside and push down until her body grew larger and larger and larger and larger on the outside to cover the balance of all of that emptiness that she felt inside, that she shoved down inside of her with food? What was that, right? So yes, I received the benefits of being raised in a 2-parent household, but I also received the benefit of a mother who said, no, I refuse. I refuse. I received the benefit of a mother who said, I love myself enough to say no. You will not go out there and lay up with other women and then come home and lay down with me. You will not. But I will create a way for you to be here for your children. You will sleep upstairs. Do you hear me? I received the benefit of a father in the home and also a strong mother in her own right. Yes, I did. So I received the benefits of a lesson of a woman who would not accept anything less than the best for herself. And it's like, do you think that this daughter did not know? Consciously, she may not have been aware of the fact that her father was stepping out, but you don't think that there's a part of her spirit that knew that her daddy was not faithful to that home. She knew. And this is why she went out and she found herself a man who mimicked her daddy's behavior and then came back to her mother for the same lessons that her mother took for herself. Stay, endure, sacrifice, stuff it down inside until your body is big and obese from dysfunction and disappointment. Hold it all inside and hold on to a marriage of a man who is not honoring his vows. And then she blames the daughter. Nobody is to blame for somebody stepping outside of the marriage except for the person who steps out. Listen, if you need the sex that badly, go! Get a divorce first. But don't think that you're going to be able to cut and eat and devour a cake and keep the cake whole. You cannot have your cake and be able to eat pieces of it too. You have to choose. So if you want your family, you need to act accordingly. You need to honor your vows. So no, Tonya TKO self-love specialist, I do not specialize in people staying in situationships, relationships, or marriages which are not serving them. I don't even advocate for you to stay in friendships which don't serve you. I am all about you, and I am all about the ascension of your soul. How is it that you get to the next level? And do you get to the next level by dishonoring yourself for the sake of whom? Listen, you are a woman first. You are a man first. Before you are anybody's father, before you are anybody's husband, before you are anybody inside of a relationship, you are a person first and foremost. How is it that you are taking care of yourself as a person? How did this woman take care of herself as a woman? So yes, so she wanted a father inside of the home for her child, but what did she do for herself? How do you think your children are affected by the fact that mama is miserable? By the fact that mama is hiding this lie, this secret lie inside of her that she has a man who is disregarding and disrespecting their relationship, who comes home at night and then disrespects her with his infidelity and disrespects the children too. Because a man who cheats on his wife not only cheats on his wife, he cheats on his children too. This is why we need to hold men accountable for their actions. If this man wants to be considered head of household, act like the head. Be responsible for your own actions. Don't blame anybody but yourself. If you go out there and you do something, you blame yourself for doing it. You don't blame somebody at home. If there's an issue, talk to your partner. If you can't work out the issue, then you need to work out a way to live honorably, with integrity, without blaming anybody else. And so now they're going to continue this pattern. I already know what's going to happen. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm psychic. And I do psychic readings and tarot advice, etc. I help people find clarity behind the scenes. And the way that I'm able to be psychic is because I can read energy. We all can. You don't think that this daughter was able to read her mother's energy and know that something wasn't right in that home. So yeah, so she received the benefits of having a father under the same roof. Yes. But what were the detriments that she felt? And I already know what's going to happen. She's going to go back and she's going to go and stay with her husband. And she's going to produce daughters into this marriage who are also going to attract men who are going to cheat on them. This is generational and it keeps coming up for healing until somebody says no more. No more. No more. I'm done. This is enough. I have to love myself enough. I need to love myself enough to be able to do what is best for me. And as female head of that household, you set the standard for your children. So love yourself. Learn that you are worth somebody being faithful to you. Learn that you are worth somebody being honest with you and honoring your vows. You are worth that. There are men out there who don't cheat. There are men out there who communicate with their wives. There are men out there who honor their vows. Be with one of those men and hold them accountable. Because you know how they say people only do what you allow them to do? When you let it be known that it is acceptable for you to go out there, come back and still get the benefits of a faithful father and husband, there's no dire incentive holding that person to task. And if you're wondering, my parents lived in the same house, oh yes, and my mother did date. She did. My father may have dated, I don't know, because he went and he did whatever it was that he did outside of the home. But because of my father's actions, his penalty was, yes, you will be able to stay here with your children, but you will not have me. I will date, and my father had to watch my mother date in that home. Yes. And that was his own doing. I do not fault my mother at all. If anything, I respect it, and I respect her. And I grew up with that lesson of strength inside of me. And it's like, as a mother, you are the example to your children. What are you teaching them through your actions? As a father, you are an example to your children. What are you teaching them through your actions? I learned many lessons in that household, both spoken and most importantly, unspoken. Because we repeat these behaviors and we repeat these patterns. And I am happy to state that in all the dating that I have done, to my knowledge to this day, I have attracted only men who were faithful. Only. And I am assured of that. Listen, there are men out there who are faithful. Whatever it is that existed generationally in my DNA before me was healed before it came to me. I don't attract issues like that. I do not. And if you are in a situation where you are not being honored, take a look. Maybe there's some things that you did not know about what was going on before with your parents. Take a look and ask them some questions, because these things get embedded in our DNA and in our psyche, and our energy brings forth these people to mirror back this lesson that's coming up for healing. So talk to your mother, talk to your father, and see what existed there before you. Because the hardest lessons of our subconscious programming happen when we don't know that it's happening. For the things that we see, the little things that we hear, but we don't really fully understand. And then boom, sooner or later, before you know it, ta-da, the same lesson is coming up for healing in your own life. Because you lived through this, you survived through this as a child. So listen, on that note, I am out of here. Make sure you subscribe directly to my reaction channel, Tonya Tko Reacts. You can search for it on YouTube, Tonya Tko Reacts, and subscribe to that channel. And like I said, I'm a self-love specialist. Subscribe to my personal mailing list. I'll put the link around here. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for coming through. We should hug, right? This was a hard topic. So let's hug, everyone. Let's hug. Let's hug. Hug me, hug me. I love you. I love you. Love you. Oh, yes, yes, yes. All right. Now go out there and love one another, but most importantly, what? That's right, love yourself. Love yourself. And make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel, Tonya TKO. What are the things that she placated with and that she had to stuff and hide? Whew, this is difficult. All right. That she placated with, I can't think of the word.